Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Focus TV. Joined as always, we got Octavia Wyatt, Raymond Lyons, Cardell Dudley Jr., Wilson Tarpe Jr. And again, we got another week, a lot of sports to get through. And of course, sports doesn't stop. Had some noise that came out today. We'll add to rapid fire a little bit later. Gotta love baseball writers doing what they do best, holding grudges forever and being sanctimonious beyond regards, and such a clean sport. As you guys can see, Cardell's in Capital One. The Wizards ending their homestand. I'm gonna let you tell everybody how things are going.
They look like the 10-3 Wizards the start of the season. They up 66-36 on the Clippers right now. It's been all Wizards. Both bands. This is probably the best game I've seen them play since around that time. Honestly, it's been a balanced attack offensively. And defensively, they're swung, man. Like, especially Bill and Rui, the way they're helping from the corners and, just altering shots, getting steals when post entry passes, blocking shots. Thomas Bryant, Trez came in, getting blocks and stuff, and most importantly, they're rebounding. They hold the Clippers for one shot, and then they're going the other way and they're executing offensively, and they're moving the ball. So the Clippers can't really key in one guy. Like I said, it's just a balanced attack offensively and defensively. Offensively it's a balanced attack, and defensively everybody's active. Everybody's doing their job, and it's a great sight to see, man. It's been a long time since I've seen them put together a great half like that. Just to throw some key stats, they're holding the Clippers to 29% shooting from the field right now. They all rebounding up 30 to 18, and they have 16 assists, and they only had 6 turnovers at the half. Right now, the leading scorers are Kuzma and Gafford. They both have 10 points apiece. The bench has 30 points for the Wizards. Like, that's how balanced the attack of an attack it is. And Harrell has 8. Thomas Bryant and Denny, they both have 7 points apiece. So, Bill has 7. Caldwell Pope only shot 2 shots. Like, that's how balanced they are. They don't even need to be aggressive because everybody's getting in. And the Clippers just, you can say they're tired. They've been on a long road trip or whatnot, but it's the NBA. You got to suck it up, man. Everybody got that. So you can't give it no excuse. And the Wizards haven't been playing that well anyway. So right now, it's about that's why I'm saying going to ask for a better half, man. The only negative y'all can really think of is at the end of the first quarter, they allowed a 15-6 run to allow the Clippers to get back into it when they were up nearly 20. Other than that, it's been always. It's just really been. It's just nothing. Even Ty Lue just over there sitting down with the screw face on, just upset, man, because it ain't really much he can do right now. Like, he probably just counting down the days for Kawhi PG to hopefully return. They got their own issues with their injuries, but all in all, it's been almost a flawless first half for the Wizards.
Before we let you out here, how imperative is it for them to make sure they finish the job out, knowing that, they just had someone put 50 on their head this weekend, embarrass them in their own building. And now you're leaving the confines of Capital One, and you're going into the dungeon on Saturday. You're going to take on Memphis. But before you get to Memphis, you got to finish out today. So,
they need a win. It just is what it is, man. They need a win, but like you said before, they go on this main road trip. They got a nice, strong stretch coming. But at the same time, they need to bring this type of energy and this type of focus and this type of effort regardless of who they're playing from this day on throughout the season. Like I said, I haven't seen them this active defensively as a team, as a whole, in a long time since the beginning of the season. It's normally like 1 or 2 players, and the other 3 just kind of lackadaisical. They get into the play when they have to, and obviously that's been a recipe for disaster. So we've been saying it all season long. It's a broken record. That's how we sound it right now. If they defend, they're a pretty good team. You know what I mean? When they half-pass it on the end, you got the results. They're 1 game below 500, and that's just what it is, man. They score enough points to win a lot of these games, but they can't stop anybody. They're not really doing that. 66, you've seen them get that plenty of times, and they've ended up losing the game. So, it's just a matter of just staying the course and not getting, not being gassed up, thinking you got the game won or whatnot. Ty Lue's one of the best, if not the best in the league at making halftime adjustments. So we're about to see, man. But all in all, right now, this is exactly you couldn't have asked for a better half.
All right, we're gonna check in with you later on Wizards Outlook for the folks that pay attention to that on a regular basis. Hopefully, they handle business in the second half. And thanks for checking in.
All right, man. Talk to y'all.
All right, y'all. So that was Cardell checking in from the Wizards. Raymond's gonna let you guys know what's been happening with the Wizards that led up to today, and they better came out with some type of fight on the defensive end. Because I'm gonna let Ray tell you why. Something happened to him on Sunday, and to maybe to help them, give them reason to want to play a little bit of defense. But we're gonna get into that just a little later. Got a lot on today's show. Octavia's going to talk to you guys about NFL Divisional Round. Some really fun games this weekend as the NFL playoffs continue to ratchet up. We can tell why the NFL does ratings, and there's been no shortage of drama in these playoffs. Keith's back this week. He's looking at quarterbacks, which is depending on. Hey, look, most of y'all teams are bad. I'm gonna say it. You're looking for quarterbacks. He got two. He's another two. He's looking at this week, so we're gonna let Keith talk to you guys about that when we get back. Gonna talk a little bit Wizards, and Ray's gonna let you know exactly why. Maybe there was a fire lit under Washington to come out and play a little defense tonight.
We're back, and I know we've already done 2 quarterbacks already. The reason why I'll be doing 2 more this week is because quarterback is arguably the most important position in football. They touch the ball every play, so they have a vital part on how the game goes, on how well they play. So the 2 quarterbacks that I'll be talking about today are Malik Willis and Sam Howell. Sam Howell is at a UNC, Malik Willis is at a Liberty. And, draft classes are defined as how good the quarterback position is in that class. Last year, everybody was going to say, oh my God, the draft was stacked. It was so talented. Because we had 5 quarterbacks who were up there. And I think 5 got drafted in the first round. So obviously, they're said to be great if the quarterbacks are great. This year, there was no top tier quarterbacks. So everybody's saying, oh, this draft class isn't as talented. They don't have what other draft class brings. But I actually think this one might be a little bit more interesting than the one in years past. We'll start out with Sam Howell and why I think Sam Howell is a day 2 guy to me. And I'll say that because Sam Howell reminds me of Baker Mayfield. We all see how Baker Mayfield's ending up right now. Baker Mayfield is he can kind of move in the pocket. It looks a little hard for him. Sam Howell's a little bit better at moving around in the pocket when it comes to pocket management. But he also is very late on a lot of balls. His release, his wind-up when throwing the ball isn't there a lot of times, and it takes him a while to get it out. And in college, that's okay. It's going to work some more times than not because you're in college. You're not going against the pros. When you're going against the pros, and by the time you're here, you've got defensive linemen in your face. You've got to get that ball out fast. You look at some of the guys that are up there in the league. You got Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. All these guys can sling it. They can get it out of there. So velocity on your ball is one of the more important things that I look at when I look at quarterbacks, because if you can't zip it in there and fit it in the tight window, a lot of passes that those top tier quarterbacks can make, it's already taken out of your arsenal because you can't get it there fast enough. He is okay at RPOs, and he does struggle with being able to read if he should tuck it or not. Sometimes it won't register on what type of coverage is coming at him, so he'll resort back to taking it himself, which will sometimes result in 1 and 2 yard gains when it would have been a much larger pass play if he'd have got it out of there. But one thing I will say about him is that this guy is a strong runner if he does have to escape. I've seen this guy break so many tackles. I've seen him break 30-yard runs because he is bouncing off of 1-2 tackles, and he extends the play by breaking off those tackles. So I do think he's a day 2 guy nonetheless, but I do think he has shown flashes in college about being a okay starter. Do I think he can be a franchise guy? No. Would I spend a first-round pick on him? No. But I do think if he was a guy who came in as a backup, would I be able to trust, okay, can he just get this game over, or not get the game over, but can he just get through it and not make the mistakes? I think he also somewhat plays like Jimmy Garoppolo. So he doesn't have the high ceiling, but his floor is higher than most people's. Now, on to Malik Willis. You can ask anybody I've talked to, if there is one guy I've loved the most out of this entire process for scouting college players, it's Malik Willis. People will knock on him for, coming out of Liberty, transferring from Auburn, but when I watched this past week's Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen game, Patrick Mahomes went to Texas Tech, and Josh Allen went to Wyoming. So when I look at quarterbacks, I don't look at who they played, or obviously competition plays some part, but it's not that big of a knock as people like to make it. He's playing at Liberty, but he's also bringing Liberty up there. He's making Liberty better. He's making all the guys around him better. That's just like a point guard in basketball. They are there to make everybody around them better. LeBron James makes everybody better. These top-tier guys make everybody better. Josh Allen has Gabriel Davis breaking postseason records. They make them better. That's a good thing about quarterbacks. Malik Willis has been able to throw a 50-yard bomb with great velocity off his back foot. Now, that's really hard to do off your back foot. You're throwing a 50-yard bomb in tight coverage off your back foot, so you're not able to set your feet and really get your body behind that ball. His pocket presence is above average. The only reason I won't say it's like really good is because I feel like sometimes his eternal clock goes off too fast to where he's, okay, 1-2, okay, I gotta go. Sometimes it's not like that. But that's a good problem to have, in my opinion, because if your eternal clock is going off to the point where you're able to extend plays when you don't have to, but you're showing that you can do it on a daily basis, I still think that helps you. He is able to put great touch on the ball. It was one play against Virginia Tech that I watched where, and this was from his 2020 season, not this past season, where he rolled out, broke off a tackle in the backfield. He's spinning off a tackle, and off his sidearms a 50-yard dime to the sideline that gets him down to the 2-yard line. And I'm just watching him, and I'm like, wow. Not a lot. I don't think there is 6 guys in the league who can do what he can do. Now, yes, if I'm making him sound like he should be the first pick, no. But it's because sometimes he struggles with decision making. He will, more often than not be able to read where a guy is going, or he'll think, okay, I can fit in. Because he has such great velocity and such a great arm, he gets ahead of himself and thinks, I can fit this where it really can't be fit. So yes, it has led to multiple turnover games. He's had turnover problems. And he tends to hold on to the ball too long. So it's like everybody has their pros and cons. But this guy, I think, like when he is playing, you can tell that whenever he extends a play, he's always looking downfield. And you can tell that he can run, and he can break a 30-yard run with ease. But he's always looking downfield. He's like, okay, how can I get the ball out of my hands into the receiver's hands who's downfield? Because once you extend the play, corners aren't going to be able to cover that long. So once he's able to get out, he knows, okay, let me get it downfield. And he's shown the ability to get the ball there so many times off so many unbalanced throws. It's ridiculous. This guy, I think, he's one of the more interesting guys. Like, I don't think he plays like anybody in the NFL. He plays like Malik Willis. That's why, like, when I try to think of like a player count for him, it's really hard to do because he has a really high ceiling but a really low floor. It's either this guy's going to be unlocked and used correctly by the right coaching staff and could be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, or he's going to be drafted somewhere in a bad situation with coaches who don't know how to use his strengths and limit his weaknesses, and then he'll be one of the bottom tier quarterbacks who people will write off as bust. I genuinely don't see it in between. I do think he'll be able to reach his peak, but it's all about landing spots. These are 2 talented quarterbacks. I think Malik should go mid first to high first. I think Sam Howell should be mid to high second. I think they're both guys who will get a starting job one day in the NFL. And this has been the second round of talking about the quarterbacks for this upcoming draft class. We have two more to go over, and once we get those, we'll be pretty much done with the quarterback class. But we'll sprinkle in some of the later round quarterbacks who may be able to make some noise. So I will see you guys next week. Peace.
Welcome back to the Focus TV. Thanks to Cardell and Keith. All right, Raymond, the floor is yours. You heard Cardell talk about them having a fire lit under them, playing defense like we definitely haven't seen them play since the beginning of the season. If you don't mind, letting everyone know as to why that could be.
Yeah, so on Sunday, Jason Tatum came to town and scorched the earth. 51-point game. They actually had 48 through three quarters. He just torched the Wizards. Nobody that was in front of him was effective at all. And yeah, and he was due because he had been struggling shooting the basketball for some games. He had missed 23s in a row. But he definitely redirected the course against the Wizards, man. It was just it was an awesome performance. He was just in his zone, and it just wasn't nothing they could do about it. Especially given how they've been playing defense lately. A guy comes in a rhythm like that, and that's the results, man. So that is what led to them coming out the gates like they did today. Any competitor after something like that happens, you're gonna respond, with some intensity. To if they were to come out and with the performance anywhere near what they had on Sunday, then that just go ahead and pack it in for the rest of the season, because if you want to lay down like that 2 nights in a row, then that's just inexcusable. But yeah, they are up right now in the Clippers 74-52. Hopefully they can finish this game out. I highly doubt that they're going to drop this one, but stranger things have happened. Definitely will make for an interesting Wizards outlook later on if they do lose. But but yeah, let's hope it doesn't come to that. As far as the go, they split a back-to-back homestand against the Windy City Bulls. They won the first game on the 22nd, and they lost last night. They didn't have Jaime Ekanike available for last night's game, but still a decent performance overall. They've been showing great balance scoring the basketball. They on Sunday they had 7 guys in double figures. Last night they had 4 guys in double figures, but still a solid performance. They've been struggling from three. 3-point shooting has kind of been up and down. On the 22nd, they shot 29% from three. They rebounded with shooting 42% last night. That's been one of the one of the areas they're a little inconsistent with throughout the season. But they're still able to to control games because they're so dominant in the paint. They actually lead the league in points in the paint at 64 a game. With their dominance inside, it allows them to control the pace of games, and it just kind of offsets the 3-point shooting. And teams have tried to pack the paint against them, but they shoot well enough to keep teams honest, and then it allows them to operate where they want to. So that's a good thing that they have that balance, and they're able to alleviate some of those issues when the 3 ball is not falling. As I always say, they're an extremely young team. But the good thing about it is they have some things they can hang their hat on. Like I just said, their points in the paint and their scoring inside is one thing, and they also rebound the ball really well, and they're a pretty solid defensive team. So I mean, those are things that can tend to lead to success, because, like I said, it allows you to control how the game goes. If you're getting stops, getting rebounds, and you can score in the paint effectively, that's that keeps you in games, because other teams can't get out and run because you're not shooting a lot of long shots, which lead to long rebounds. We see it at the NBA level all the time when teams aren't particularly shooting the three well, and they just continue to shoot them for some reason. Teams just get those long rebounds, run out and get layups. So yeah, that and it allows them to get set up on defense. Because they're making a lot of shots close to the basket. Teams aren't able to get out and run on them, so they get back, they set up, and then that leads to their success on that end. So I mean, they're figuring it out, they're improving. Nothing's going to be perfect, but they have a solid foundation, and in the areas that they lack in, they're continuously improving and getting better in. So it's apparent that they're working. They've been in the lab. So yeah, man, it's good things coming from the go-go. It's nice to see Greg Monroe playing basketball again, and he's playing well. So who knows, man? He was on the 10-day earlier. He might get another call up because between him and Jaime Ekanike, they might have the best center duo in the league, man. Because those guys have been putting in work. But yeah, man, we'll definitely have more from the go-go moving forward.
All right, Octavia, the divisional round of the NFL playoffs.
I mean, can we say best weekend of football? Like, I feel like this was like the best weekend of football that I've had in a very long time. A lot of things happened that we didn't predict, but they happened. We'll start off with the first game of the weekend, which was the Cincinnati Bengals against the Titans. And the Bengals, the youngins, they were victorious, beat the Titans, who were the number one seed, who had a bye and home field advantage. Let's go ahead and point that out. They defeated them 19-16. Joe Burrow, 20-37, 348 yards. He didn't even throw a touchdown in this game, which is crazy. He threw one interception. And he was sacked 9 times, guys. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like, I don't think his offensive line likes him. None of them are getting Rolexes. You're not getting them for Christmas because it's hard out there. But at the same time, like we knew that was a possibility with the front four for the Tennessee Titans. But I'll be honest, I was not ready for 9 sacks. Justin Simmons with 3, a host of others with half sacks, 2 sacks to equal up to the 9. But as we talked about, especially with another quarterback that we'll talk about in the next game, when you get hit a lot, sometimes that throws you off. It can throw off your confidence. It can throw off your accuracy. You don't want to get hit, so you might be releasing the ball a little bit early because you see people coming out your peripheral. And you're like, I'm tired of getting hit and ending up on the ground. But it doesn't faze Joe Burrow. I mean, to get sacked 9 times, and I mean, he basically set a record. I think not a record, but he's among some quarterbacks. He's only a handful of quarterbacks who's been sacked 8 or more times in a playoff game and actually won. So I take that back. He did set the record. It was Donovan McNabb who was sacked 8 times in 2003 and won a playoff game. And now Joe Burrow was sacked 9 times in a playoff game and actually won. The others that were sacked 9 times didn't win the game. So that's the crazy part about it. To be the Titans, to have the number 1 seed, the rest, the home field advantage, and then you have Derrick Henry coming back fresh. He hasn't played since November. He looks good. He's taking contact well. And I don't know what the play call was when the game started. Who decided to let Ryan Tannehill throw the ball in the first play of the game? Why was that a thing? Derrick Henry is back. Give him the ball 50 times and run. I don't understand it. Ryan Tannehill threw an interception on the very first play of the game. He was 15-24, 220 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 interceptions. To sack the other team's quarterback 9 times and lose a game is demoralizing. That's got to be terrible. Ryan Tannehill has done well enough this year to be a game manager, and he has managed games this entire year. I don't know why all of a sudden they wanted him to be the big shot and do play action on the first play of the game, and it just didn't work out. The Bengals, we were not expecting them to be this ready this fast. They looked good last year before Joe Burrow went down with the knee injury because the offensive line is terrible. And for him to come back the next year, I mean, it's a lot. Go ahead and say he will be comeback player of the year. And for them to do what they're doing this fast, the AFC needs to be worried. AFC needs to definitely be worried with everything that they have out there. I don't see the Bengals slowing down. This offseason now, though, probably, and they should focus on getting their offensive line together to protect Joe Burrow. And once he's protected, if he's going to do what he's doing now without the protection, I can only imagine what's going to happen when he actually has people blocking for him and he's not running for his life. It's just crazy. So that's got to be a huge disappointment for the Titans. If I'm Derrick Henry, I'm like, I came back for this. No. Why? Which is crazy. So that was the first game. Second game of the weekend, we had the San Francisco 49ers against the Green Bay Packers. 49ers were victorious. They defeated the Packers 13-10. I was not expecting that slow of a scoring game. I knew that both defenses were going to be very involved in the game. The Packers came out strong, coming straight down the field on the opening possession and scoring a touchdown. And I always just am so amazed at how it really looks like that Aaron Rodgers just goes and drops the ball right in Davante Adams' hand. Like, it looks like that he just is doing that. Like, maybe he's like super fast. He's like Sonic. He just goes and comes back and it just looks like he threw the ball. That's what it looks like. Like, he just places it in his hand because no matter what happens, he gets it to it. I mean, he was 20 of 29, 225. I'm sorry. 20 of 29, 225 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, which is crazy. Green Bay, of course, we know it's Davante Adams. The others didn't really step up. The Randall Cobbs, the Allen Lazars, the Valdez Scantling, the Mercedes Lewis, who had a terrible timed turnover. And then their one Achilles, well, I won't say one, but their Achilles heel this year was their special teams. Their special teams didn't get it done a lot during this season. We know Mason Crosby had a very, very struggle year, if you want to call it that. And the rest of the special teams didn't do too well. They had a punt block and a field goal block, and that field goal block was the turning point in the game. I laugh because, as Wilson says, Jimmy's always going to try to give it away. He's always going to try, and the Packers didn't take the bait for whatever reason. The Packers should never want to play the 49ers ever again in the playoffs. Just wrap it up. We don't want to see y'all. Let's get away, because the 49ers are the definition of a physical team. They're taking it to you, whoever it is. I mean, their wide receiver, for goodness sake, is a running back. We're not even talking about the defensive side who's going to bring it to you. We're talking about your wide receiver who you can put in the backfield, hand the ball off, and he's going to get you down the field. So Aaron Rodgers it's got to be a complete letdown for the season. Matt LaFleur, it has to be a complete letdown for the season as well, especially because we know there's so many things that are going to be going on in Green Bay next year. Will Aaron Rodgers be back? Will Davante Adams be back? One thing I heard this morning that I completely forgot about was they could franchise tag him. That would be interesting. I don't know if they would or if they wouldn't. That would be interesting. I'm sure Aaron Rodgers did not anticipate having to make a decision this quickly in the postseason. But as they come, they go. And you had another number one seed go down, and it's over for them. So they will be looking forward to next year. And just imagine if Aaron Rodgers leaves, what are they going to do? Because Julian Love don't look like he is either. So I hope y'all got some picks somewhere to get somebody somewhere if Aaron Rodgers decides he wants to go to an AFC team that looks kind of made ready. We know there's been speculation of possibly Denver because, that's where he lives, it looks like now. So we'll see how that goes for them, but it's completely disappointing. I mean, Aaron Rodgers to have the season that you had and you guys only scored 10 points. You only needed 14 points to win the game. And you scored 10. It's just disheartening for them. And for everybody that got back in the game, Zadarius Smith came back and Jair Alexander came back. Randall Cobb came back, who was also injured, and he wasn't even involved at all during the game. So just a complete letdown for them. But I mean, the San Francisco 49ers turned it on when they needed to. They struggled in the beginning of the season. I know it looks like James is doing enough to not all the time throw it away. although he tries. His team got his back, it seems like. On to the next game. The Los Angeles Rams against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Tampa Bay, defending champions, go down. Los Angeles beats the Bucs 30-27. And honestly, it wasn't as close as the score says. Tampa Bay did Tampa Bay things with Tom Brady and doing Tom Brady things, coming back from Dan going near 27-3. It looked eerie similar to another time when they were down 28-3 and came back and won a game for a Super Bowl. Although it wasn't the Buccaneers, it was the Patriots that Tom Brady was a part of at that time. But the Rams defense is just, when they're on, they're on. When Aaron Donald can do what he want to do, which is most of the time, especially if you're not going to double team him, he's going to do what he wants to do. And he did everything he needed to. And even with the double teams, that freed up Von Miller, who went from being on a team that he never thought that he would ever leave. He thought he would retire, had a losing record before he left, to then going to a complete title contender off the back, off of the ankle injury that he had earlier this year. And he's been producing. It's nice to see OBJ get involved. Cleveland, I don't know what you thought you did or were doing. It wasn't right. Bad teams do bad things, and you guys were horrible for how you treated him, because obviously this is all Odell Beckham wanted. He wanted to be in a position where he can be on a team that is competing, and he can contribute to that, and he's doing that, especially coming in after the Robert Woods injury that happened literally at the exact same time, which was crazy. Cooper Kupp, arguably the best wide receiver in the league this year. I'm still partial to Devontae Adams, but you can't deny the year that Cooper Kupp has had. And Matt Stafford, I don't believe in him a lot, but he showed a lot of poise in the game. With the Bucs coming back the way that they did in a hurry at the end, the 2 turnovers by Cam Akers, who has to get that together ASAP if they're going to continue to go forward with the teams that they're going to have to play. It was remarkable that Matt Stafford was able to gather himself and bring the team down there to get to that point, to have Matt Gay kick that field goal. Shout out to the kickers this year, this offseason, postseason as well. In 3 of these games, the kickers kicked a game-winning field goal, 4 seconds remaining in the game to win, which is crazy. I saw a meme where it literally showed all 3 games where they all literally have 4 seconds left on the clock, getting ready for a field goal, and they all made it. So as much as we clown kickers, when they do what they're supposed to do, this is the result. So Matt Gay, coming through in the clutch for them. And then, the Bucs, I just feel like they had too many injuries. Tristan Wirth not being there hurt them a lot. Tom Brady does not like to get hit. He's 44. I don't blame him. He's going to be 45 in August. He don't want to get hit. And he got sacked 3 times this game. And unlike Joe Burrow, it bothers him. And of course, it sucks that they don't have Chris Godwin going across the middle. Rob Gronkowski can only do what he can. And we know how Mike Evans is on the outside. So they just didn't have enough. And I always say it's really hard to repeat in a Super Bowl anyway. So they did well enough to get where they were, but they just had so many injuries at the end. They just weren't as healthy as they were last year. Last but not least, the best entire game of the entire weekend waited to the very last game. Kansas City Chiefs played against the Bills. Kansas City came through in the clutch, defeated the Bills 42-36, and I just wish it could have ended in a tie. I wish that we could have just had a series of 3-game series to see who goes, because I would love to see them play again and again and again. Josh Allen, although he lost the game, it's no fault of his own. He did everything he could possibly do, to win that game. He was 27-37, 329 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Shout out to Gabriel Davis, who caught all 4 touchdowns, which is crazy. And 2 of them being in the last few minutes of the game. Between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, they both threw for 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards in the last 2 minutes of the game, which is crazy. It's ludicrous. I just don't understand what happened. It was an amazing game. On the other side, Patrick Mahomes, 33 of 44, 378 yards, 3 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill faster than everybody. I mean, he throwing up the deuces with 2 people in front of him. Y'all still in front of me, but I'm going to still run past you and score. So go ahead and watch as I run past you and score. As great as the defense is for the Bills, they just made mistakes at inopportune times. I feel like the biggest mistake was probably on special teams. They scored the touchdown with 13 seconds left on the clock. And I think they got complacent. They thought, we finally did it. We beat the Chiefs. We're going to the AFC Championship. I don't care that they have 3 timeouts left. They're not going to do anything. 2 amazing passes up the middle of the field to get them into field goal range. Another field goal kicker comes through in the clutch, Harrison Butker, who is, I mean, maybe average. You know, he's not the top name kicker that you would hear for the most of the year. But he did what he needed to do, and Patrick Mahomes got him in his range where it was a chip shot for him. So there was no issue. To get to overtime in that game, 36-36, the Chiefs, they win the coin toss, and that's all she wrote. The Bills never even got a chance to get the ball to possess it. Had the Bills possibly kicked the ball when they kicked off after they scored that touchdown with 13 seconds left in the game, had they possibly kicked the ball in play to start the clock a little bit, we may be having a different discussion. But they didn't. Again, it goes back to coaching. It goes back to being ready for things. Right now to talk about your team, but one thing that they brought up is how the Cowboys looked confused in their last 14 seconds of the game. The Chiefs knew exactly what they were doing in the last 13 seconds of that game. And they executed it to a T, regardless of what the Bills defense was doing. It was crazy. I mean, the Bills had already started celebrating on the sideline. They were hugging each other. We finally did it. And Patrick Mahomes was like, nope, bring it back. But hats off to both teams. Like I said, it was an amazing game. I feel for the Bills, especially Stephon Diggs. I mean, to watch the celebration last year, to think you win it this year, and for it to switch on a dime like that, that's gotta suck. I'm sorry, it's gotta suck. You watched your brother lose, and then now you lose this way. That's just gotta suck. I feel bad for Aiden. Like, Aiden's probably happy though, because Patrick Mahomes won. That's all he cares about. You know, Trayvon Diggs' son, Aiden. He's the cutest thing ever, and that's all he cares about is Patrick Mahomes. So he's probably happy in that aspect, but I'm sure he wishes that his dad and his uncle probably would have won. But all around, great divisional games. I'm so ready for the championships. We'll have the 49ers against the Rams, the Rams can't beat the 49ers. I don't know what it is. They can't do it. They're their kryptonite. We know it's hard to beat a team 3 times in one season, but I honestly think that the 49ers could do it. I think the Rams are shook. They don't like it. They don't want to see it. They're like, bruh, stop hitting me. I don't know. I don't want to be involved in it. Like we talked about yesterday, the only thing that I worry about is 10. I'll call them 10 now. That's the only one. If 10 is going to try to give it away, this might be the team that be like, oh, you want to give it to us? Oh, we'll take it. So that's the only thing. And then on the other side, to see the Bengals against the Chiefs. They had a spirited game early on in the season where the Chiefs came up and won 34-31 at the last second. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a great game next week.
No, definitely. It definitely is. But yeah, with Buffalo, I'm just not here for the whole they should get both teams need to get the ball in OT. It was 13 seconds left, sir. I don't want to hear any.
But I respect Josh Allen for coming out and saying that. He was like, I don't think that the rules need to be changed. He was like, if the roles were reversed, we'd be celebrating too. So it is what it is. So I appreciate him saying that.
Not only that, like I would go look at the defense and be like, I'd go get them, and then the people who graded them as the number 1 defense. I need to understand how we got to this ranking because I'm confused. The math ain't mathing.
Yeah, make the math make sense.
The math isn't mathing because that was the East. Right. They had 3 seconds to spare. They went 40 yards in 2 plays with 3 seconds to spare.
Yep. They had 3 timeouts. So I don't even know what they thought they were doing. Like, of course we're going to the middle of the field. We have 3 timeouts. We don't need to go towards the edge. And I don't know what they were thinking.
My man walked up to the line of scrimmage and said, do it, Kels, do it. And nobody responded. You didn't want to just.
I would have been nervous if I heard that. I would have been completely nervous. Like do what? Wait a minute.
Like, maybe I should take 2 steps closer, right, Ray? Do it, Chokes. Do it. Like, you deserve it. I'm sorry. They got 20 more yards to go. My man said, Blue 40, do it, Kels, do it. No.
Just stop the whole call.
My man killed the whole cadence. Do it, Kels, do it. Nah, y'all deserve that. You got the whole offseason.
I'd have been nervous. I'd have been so nervous if I heard that.
I'm in shambles. That hurts to hear. He told you. He told us all. And we heard it all over the broadcast, which means you definitely heard it on the field. But it's okay. It is what it is. Over to the 9-4-50 breakdown. This week, it's a drag behind into a quick behind pickup. Again, it's a drag behind into a quick behind pickup. Jamal Hayward, a 9-4-50 breakdown. We get back from that. College segment. Got some time getting a rapid fire and whatnot. You're watching the Focus TV.
Today, we're going to work on some more slow to fast movement here from the top of the key area. You can utilize combo moves. But I'm going to utilize minimal dribbles today. So the fast part of the move is going to be a behind the back quick pickup. So whatever move I utilize, end it with a quick behind right into my shot, plug it into my shot. So I'm going to do it either way. Doesn't matter, okay? So breaking the move down, I'm going to start going to my right. So I'm just going to use a symbol between behind here. Now, that behind the back, I want to move back a little, more so at an angle to get that definitive move. Once I get that definitive move off that drag, they're somewhat relaxed because I'm going slow. So with them being somewhat relaxed, then I turn the speed up and then I go fast. It's my pickup, okay? So that will catch them off guard. And with me doing this quick pickup, a lot of defenders watch the ball. So that defender with me going behind from my right to left might anticipate that I go this way, changing directions, when I'm really going up for my shot. So I have them off balance, they can't really contest. So breaking it down again, from here, right up. Now, if you see my feet, hips, chest, shoulders, everything is aligned with the target. If I'm off the target, tougher shot. So here it is.
All right, welcome back to the Focus TV. Special thanks again to Jamal Hayward for knocking out the 9-4-50 breakdown. All right, going to get into the college segment. GW men's and women's. Going to start with GW men's. All right, they pulled off its second double-digit comeback in 6 days. This time on the road against a Rhode Island team that yet to lose on its home floor this season. Trailing by as many as 15, the Colonials persevered to earn a tremendous 63-61 victory at the Ryan Center. URI was a perfect 8-0 at home on this year, and it won 9 straight games on its own floor, dating back to last season. The Colonials also entered the day seeking their first win in Kingston since 2013, when Joe McDonald hit a go-ahead jumper with 9.3 seconds left and a 66-65 triumph. On Saturday, it was James Bishop who broke a 60-60 tie on a fadeaway jumper from the left wing with 55 seconds remaining. After URI split a trip at the free throw line, it got a stop. Quanzi Samuels forced the steal on the perimeter, was fouled and hit 1 of 2 at the line with 5 seconds left. GW organized defensively and forced a contested three-point attempt from Ishmael El-Amin that clanged off the rim and set off a raucous celebration for the Buff and Blue. Bishop scored all 15 of his points in the second half, drilling a pair of three-pointers and connecting on 5 of 6 from the free throw line. He was joined in double figures by Hunter Dean, who had a career day en route to his first ever double-double with 15 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 blocks. After coming back from 13 down on Monday, GW worked its way back after trailing by 15 in the first half on Saturday. The win marked the largest comeback victory under Jamion Christian, surpassing Monday's effort, and was the biggest comfort beyond triumph for GW since erasing an 18-point hole at Fordham on March 1st, 2017. The Colonials got off to a difficult start in the opening 11 minutes, hitting just one of their first 11 shots. while turning the ball over 8 times to fall behind 20-5. As has been the case recently, though, it was first year Brayon Freeman, who was a spark with 3 straight makes to get GW back on track. GW utilized a different supporting cast in the opening 20 while battling foul trouble. As Dean put up 7 points and 5 rebounds before intermission, including the last 4 points to bring the Buff and Blue within 8 at 33-25. URI pushed the lead back to 11, 40-29 in the opening 3 minutes, and led by 9 with 13 minutes left before the Buff and Blue went on a run that had felt inevitable for the whole stanza. Brendan Adams kickstarted the 10-0 burst with a baseline dunk, and 2 minutes later, Bishop's layup gave GW its first lead of the day, 48-47. 6 more lead changes and 6 ties ensued over the final 10 minutes, with neither team leading by more than 2 points. The difference came down to the free throw line as GW hit 10 of 12 after taking its first lead, while Rhodey was just 4 of 11. After the ragged start, GW responded to shoot 44.7% from the floor and never let it affect the defensive end, holding Rhode Island to just 2 of 19 from beyond the arc, including 0 for 7 in the second half. GW will wrap up its 3-game road swing on Wednesday when it travels to St. Louis to take on the Bilkins. Tip-off is scheduled for 8 p.m. Eastern on Bally Sports Midwest and ESPN+. As for the GW Women's, Saturday's matinee at Charles E. Smith Center between GW Women's basketball and visiting UMass marked the return to full health for the Buff and Blue. As after a short COVID pause and then playing shorthanded, the home team was rusty, but ready for its 3rd game since January 5th. However, once the team took the floor, little went GW's way. From there, in a 68-41 setback. After Massachusetts held a 17-14 lead after the first quarter, a 22-4 surge in the second effectively put the game out of reach by halftime. UMass connected at a 45% clip from the floor, shooting 7 of 15 from 3-point range, 46%, while GW was done in. They shot 17% from long range. Look, man, that's sometimes the math is the math, and it adds up in this case. Nia Locke pays GW on the day with 9 points. It took her 15 shots against the Minute Women to get there. Meanwhile, the visitors proved difficult to contain. The first team all preseason, all A10 pick, boasted a reputation with a 20-point, 13-rebound double-double on 9 and 19 shooting. Sydney Taylor also gave the guests 17 points and an efficient 5 of 8 day from the field. Mayowa Taiwo ripped down 13 boards for GW to match Breen for the game high in that department, while also swiping 3 steals that are typically physical performance on the defensive end. Now back in the groove of playing regularly, GW can refresh and look forward to its midweek conference contest versus Davidson. The Wildcats visit GW on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. with coverage on NBC Sports Digital. GW will be in search of its first A10 win of the season and first conference win of the Caroline McCombs era. Hopefully they get that done. That's a whole lot of first win of the year. Hopefully they handle business and reach those goals. As for Maryland women's, they lost back-to-back games recently. Told you guys that last week. They use a strong defensive effort and balanced scoring to get back on the winning side of things. 87-59 win over Northwestern moves Maryland to 13-6 on the year, 5-3 in conference play. It was the first game Coach Freeze has been on the sideline for after the passing of her father. The Terps had 5 players in double figures. They were led by Katie Benson, 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. Diamond Miller and Ashley Owusu added 15 points apiece. Miller also had 4 rebounds and 4 assists, while Owusu added 6 assists and a steal. Sellers, the freshman, added 14 points, and Chloe Bibby had 12. Northwestern was led by Veronica Burton's 9 points and 6 assists. Burton came into this game averaging 17+. Lauren Satterwhite and Courtney Shaw also finished with 9 points. Shaw, the Maryland native, added 10 rebounds as well. Leah Hartman finished with 8 points. The full recap, along with some of my additional thoughts or whatever, is up on thefocustv.com. Up next for the Terps, they host Rutgers on Thursday with a chance to try to climb back up the Big Ten rankings because, it's the wrong conference to be losing back-to-back games in. Big Ten, the Michigan's not playing right now. Naz Hillman, she's grown since her freshman year, and they are on one. They don't look to be stopping anytime soon. All right, so we got a little bit of time for rapid fire.
Can I say something before you start?
Yeah, go ahead.
I would just like to say, you guys, your Wizard outlook might be very interesting.
I definitely been peeking at the score.
I just want you to know it might be actually interesting.
Hey, look, I'm sitting here reading and I can see y'all's heads moving. Right? So I got my notes up on a monitor here, but I'm trying not to look over there. And I'm looking at my phone and I see both of y'all moving. I'm like, the Wizards are doing something.
I was like, let me take a peek at the score. I was like, it's 96 to 88. They were up by 30 at halftime. They were outscored 40 to 27 in the third quarter, and right now they're being outscored 12 to 3 in the fourth. So, guys might have an interesting one. I just want to throw that out there. That's all.
I will take that, and I will raise you I'm not shocked about that. I will raise that with, we've been here before. That's all I got. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. That's it's a shame when you can't just, think 30 points, a 30-point lead at the half should be enough for you.
I thought it was. I did not even. I was like, I'm not even gonna look anymore. Then I was like,
man, what's the neighborhood coming to when you can't even just be safe, man? It's dangerous out here. All right, we got a little bit of time for rapid fire. I had like 3 questions prepared, man, but forget the prepared questions. The Baseball Hall of Fame, man. Today was the last day to either let in Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens or keep them out. Good old folks at the Baseball Hall of Fame decided to do what I don't think anybody's shocked by and held both of those people out. And before I say anything, I just want to ask you guys what you think about that. Keep in mind, this is like the all-time home runs leader, one of the greatest hitters ever. And even with, I think the other person held it was Curt Schilling, but I don't really care about that. I'm talking about Barry and Roger, because you're talking about people that like, you can talk about baseball. Ain't nobody tripping. Like if you left off Curt Schilling, you'll live. All right. Hate to be that person. You can tell the story of baseball and be like, ooh, a Red Sox pitcher. Cool. But if I say a Red Sox pitcher, most of you be like, ooh, Roger did what? Cool. All right. So what do y'all think about them keeping him out? Because baseball and David Ortiz got in, mind you. So go ahead, Octavia.
I don't think they're ever going to let them in. Like, I don't think they're ever going to bend. Like, I've never seen people hold so much of a grudge. Like, I've never seen it. They said that they're all in their 10th and final year on the writers' ballot, and they all failed to meet the 75% mark. And like you said, I mean, it's freaking Roger Clemens and freaking Barry Bonds. Like, I don't watch baseball that much, but I know them. Like, I seen them play. Like, I watched them when they played. And it was even crazier. This was years ago. I saw Barry Bonds at an iPhone store one time. And I was like, he still look good. He still like he in shape. He could go out there and play. But I don't think they're ever going to let them in. Like, it's crazy. Like, I mean, we're part of the media, so I try not to, shame the media. But come on, guys. Like, it's Barry Bonds and it's Roger Clemens. And they just like, I don't care. But I mean, we saw how, we got a little bit of glimpse in of how some of them could possibly think when it comes down to voting with the whole Aaron Rodgers situation where the guy said, yeah, I'm not voting for him because he's a mean person. So, we knew it, but at least I felt like I knew it. But to hear somebody actually come out and say, I'm like, all right, they all be doing that. They all got personal vendettas, and they all just like, nobody can be objective and just choose the way it's supposed to. You just got to have your feelings in it. So I'm not surprised, but I don't think they're going to let them in.
Ray, your thoughts on that?
Like, what's the use of having a Hall of Fame? Like,
without them. Can we create something else for them? Like, what the heck? I don't know.
I mean, like, even aside from this situation, like Octavia said, the fact that people are allowed to have their personal bias poison the selection process, like it it undermines the whole thing. Like, there's no way those two shouldn't be in. Like even if you look at a guy like Pete Rose, like, come on, like, so all right, cool. He was punished for what he did. It's been enough time. Like, it's one of the greatest hitters ever. Like, put him in the Hall of Fame, where you say that's where you house and immortalize the greatest players to play your sport. Like, damn all that personal stuff. And then but I'm like Octavia said, I'm not surprised. I knew Bonds wasn't getting in because, for one, he treated the media like shit, which I enjoyed it when he did it, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, this is ridiculous, man. Like, the guy holds one of the most prestigious records in sports, and that's not going to be like jotted down anywhere, or like,
no, they just forget it ever happened.
Like, this is ridiculous, man. And then, baseball wants to act so pure and and decent, like, but the commissioner that oversaw the steroid era is in. Like, come on, man. And we're not gonna be ignorant and act like nobody knew. Like, so yeah, there's something's got to give, man. They gotta find a way just to have a set list of criteria, and either that criteria is met and you're in, or is not and you're out. I don't know what that process looks like, but something's got to be done, man, because this is ridiculous. Like, for my money, Barry Bonds probably the greatest baseball player ever, and he's not going to be in the Hall of Fame. Like, how do you reconcile that? So yeah, I don't know, man, but media going media.
The media is not mediating right.
I mean, actually, like, that's just who some of them be. Like, the sad part is, like, my man had 2 Hall of Fame careers. If you want to ask, like, he was nice enough that we could chop it pre-incident or whatever. He was still nicer than the whole. Look, the stuff that was done before he got all like that. Like, and that's the other thing to me that's kind of funny is, like, y'all know that doesn't make your hand-eye coordinator quicker, right? Y'all do get there's a disconnect there, right? Also, if there was a bunch of them that were on it in that whole era, the throwers and the hitters, bro, like,
they should just wash each other out.
This was the era. Keep it moving.
Just watch this. They just wash each other out. They were throwing to him. He was hitting it back. They the same thing. I don't know. Like,
and even then, like, this is, and again, to speak to how scary it was, my man was John Wick out here, where if even we want to say everybody was cheating, he was the only dude getting walked when the bases were loaded.
At least he cheated the best.
Like, because now I'm looking at everybody else who did waste their time cheating.
They ain't even doing it right.
Like, what was your purpose?
Can't even get that right.
Become a superhero, or what have you. Don't go halfway.
Like, you can't take the super soldier serum and lose a fist fight.
Like, either become Red Skull or become Steve Rogers. Pick one. Don't just become the muscle head at the gym. That doesn't. Like, it doesn't.
Oh man.
So I knew it was gonna happen, and it's funny, but it's just like, the crazy part is, like Octavia said it, and the worst part is, so the dude who oversaw it's in, and then secondly, we're all old enough to remember that during that era, that was one of the most popular that tire behind sport had been. Them commercials, chicks dig the long ball, all that crazy stuff. It was nuts. They were stopping sports when Barry was on the run to break the record. Y'all were top of Sports Center. Mm-hmm. You were cutting off daily news. You were. It was interrupting.
I mean, it's very freaking long.
AOL instant messengers. You was finding notes about, like, don't do this.
Sending faxes out.
it was so bad. Like without Twitter, which is minute by minute updates, we knew exactly where Barry was at all times. In comparison to Willie Mays and all the other greats, like, why are y'all doing this? Because y'all definitely weren't like, oh no, let's not talk about it while he was doing it. All y'all writers were like, ooh, how many Barry Bonds stories can I write this week? Without even talking to him. Nah, man, like that's and that's the other thing is like, and yeah, I get there's a human part to it, but like the Hall of Fame is for what they did on their playing field. I personally could care less outside of them doing something that legit, like breaking the law and harming the public.
Right.
As long as it wasn't a Henry Ruggs situation. I mean, come on, man.
Thank you. Like outside of those things, committing terrorist acts, your sport's been dirty. It's been boring. Nobody truly cares about it. And then he was part of the thing that when people did care about it, and the worst part is you did it to the wrong dude because that's the thing that's like the one thing that everybody knows. You could have stopped watching baseball 15 years ago. You know who Barry Bonds is.
Yep.
And you know why you know who Barry Bonds is. So what did we solve here? Now you're going to be infamous. Congratulations. This doesn't make any sense. Like if you can't even supervillain correctly. The right thing to do is let him in, right? Let all them folks in and then say why it was wrong in the display. That's supervillain behavior. You didn't even do it right.
Oh, that will be delicious.
Oh
my God.
Ray,
that would be kind of savage.
Right? Like
that would be real savage.
That's supervillain. You didn't even do it right. You could have had a whole hall and explained why it was wrong and why it shouldn't matter. You could have got all your wildest takes off in a whole wing of the Hall of Fame.
And
instead,
if they did that, anybody else up for it that was involved in that wouldn't even go in.
They were like, yeah, I'm gonna sit this one out.
But like you said, they don't even know how to supervillain correctly. Now you just went out just lame, and now you're infamous, and they're even more famous because neither one of them care.
Because like now the non-story is the story.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Yeah.
You not letting him in just put them back on the headlines of everything. Congratulations. Now, people that don't know him will get the Googling and they're going to be like, but didn't he do all this stuff wrong? But he was on his team. Good job, guys. Good job. Want to thank y'all for tuning in as always. We truly appreciate you guys. Don't forget, follow the Focus TV on all your social media mediums. And now I just took a glance at the Wizards thing. My bad. That's why I paused. We got Wizards Outlook on a regular basis. Don't forget to check that out. And Friday nights, 10 p.m., DCTV. Get over to dctv.org to check the times in which the show re-airs throughout the weekend. And then Wednesday mornings, 9 a.m. on our Roku channel. All you got to do if you got a Roku television and or device, simply type in the search box the Focus TV ad channel, and there you go. So we see you guys next week for Raymond, Cardell, Octavia, and myself, and also Robbie, even though he's not here. And it hurt to try to do his job today. He needs to come back to his job. I don't want it ever. We'll see you guys next week.